Frank from Helsinki in Finland.
Those are some smart ducks. Way to choose your habitat.
JW writes, can you please talk about March 17th, 2007?
What, you mean the end of our League of Awesomeness internship? There's nothing wrong, is there? I thought we were on track. We did the Earth Sandwich, Ugly MySpace, the Adoption, Remixes for Ray, still working on the video, Vacuum Cleaners, Fabuloso Friday, Human Baton. I know there's a couple really important things left, like the power moves and that day in March where you have to cover for me, but I thought we were right on schedule. How awesome is it going to be a full member of the LOA? I don't even know where I'm going to put my iron-on. Listen to this. The other day I read somewhere that someone thought I was the head of the LOA. Me. I'm just finishing the internship, and I haven't even started to write a book about nothing, and I only know like 4 magic tricks. Imagine what it was like before they set the 1-year limit on internships. That whole pyramids thing? Way to bite off more than you can chew. The concept was cool, make the Earth spiky, but look how many they actually finished, a couple in Egypt and a couple in Latin America. Or Gaudi with that whole cathedral thing. I mean, it was awesome and they let him into the LOA, but he was dead. What good is that? Sure, in a year you can't do a lot of the really awesome stuff they used to do, like when Gregor Mendel invented the duck. Everyone goes on and on about those peas, but imagine taking a platypus, a chicken, and a tomato and breeding an animal that had only existed in painters' imaginations. Imagine your worst day hooking up all kinds of different cables to a router. This was way worse because the platypus wouldn't leave the tomato alone. And we know about chickens. I know what you're thinking. What's up with the tomato? Well, the chicken was chosen for its bird-like qualities, the platypus for its ferocious bill, and the tomato for its buoyancy. Back then, before genetic modification, which ironically Mendel helped start, tomatoes could float. People would bob for them, and that's why they're still called a fruit. Not to brag, but as a little side project during the internship, I bred a floating tomato.
As you can see, when placed in water, a modern tomato will sink or float below the surface. My tomato, on the other hand, bobs, much like a duck would. Here we see the modern tomato submerged, suddenly embarrassed by the buoyancy of my tomato.
All right, I faked it. It's actually a hollowed out tomato with a balloon inside and a weight on the bottom. I'm sorry. But I want you to know I'm not like those Korean scientists. I'd never fake human cloning. How do you fake human cloning anyways? Dress up the same baby in different outfits? I think faking human cloning deserves some kind of prize. But anyways, when the LOA came to America, a lot of the founding fathers went through internship. They were planning this whole dress-up murder mystery on a ship. But then some dude got drunk, threw stuff overboard, and they all got kicked out. I say good riddance. Those guys had zero sense of humor, and they were always writing. Anyway, they went off and formed their own thing, stole the pyramid and the eagle, but they added an eye. Talk about dumb symbols. And it's not even a fire eagle or a smoke eagle, it's just a plain eagle. So they start getting all these new members and they don't even have internships. They wanted to promote their symbols, so they put it on money. And then they started saying that if you put focused energy into something without knowing how it would lead to getting money, you were participating in a hobby. Oh, it's your hobby. Ugh. The LOA was freaking out and they were trying to find a way to make the internships more appealing. So they heard about this thing called a deadline, which originally was actually a line drawn around a Civil War camp, and if you crossed it, they'd shoot you. Nowadays, a lot of companies use that word to mean a day on which most of their employees are going to have diarrhea and the terms of a contract are going to be renegotiated. But the LOA kept it pretty pure. If you go beyond the deadline, you could die. Personally, I think a deadline is a good thing. Knowing it's coming lets you put in more effort than is probably reasonable. I wouldn't want our internship to languish and eventually fade out, or become some bizarre caricature of itself like Gaudi's cathedral, perpetually half-finished. This has been our 1-year shot. Let's hope we make it.